Okay, everyone. Before we do the closing, actually, who's in the back? Hey, JJ, can you just get anybody that's outside just to come inside really quickly? Is George still here? Yeah, Dan, can you just get everybody inside? I just want to acknowledge Neil and George really quickly, and then they can. Oh, where's the cowbell? Did you know this is Joey's cowbell?
Oh, no.
No, look at this.
One of the key skills in these meetings is to have a flock and 5 minutes before sessions have the sweepers, and the sweepers have to physically push.
Yeah, I know. That's what I've been doing. It's not. I will.
It's my time to shine.
Do it, Daniel. Thank you.
Oh, good. You missed the group photo.
You should do one with. You should take one with Neil right now. Yeah, give it to me. Yeah.
Well, with the real camera.
Yeah, let's do it. Of course. Huh? George should be here in a moment. Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Okay.
Maybe if you do the.
Well, we can do one first with you guys.
Okay, cool.
First with you.
Where do you do it?
In Vancouver.
Okay, oh great. Yeah.
Oh, you are. Okay, there we go. Oh, this is 1 minute and 3 seconds.
Oh.
This exposure. How do I?
Here, let's see. Sorry, it's switched over. Just okay, so let's do the ISO. Bring that up a bit.
Okay.
That'll be a bit better, and the 125 and.
Okay. Awesome. Great. Thank you. All right, everybody, come on in. Let's just do a really quick report back. Daniel. Shout outs to Daniel Rohr, everybody, with the cowbell. Yes. Thank you. I know everybody is psychologically damaged now from cowbell. I really, like the last couple sessions, I couldn't bring myself to do it because it hurts my soul. But thank you all so much. So can we just do some really quick report backs? Did anybody have a report back? Please line up and give them right now. I know there's at least more than one session than the George and Neil session, so. Anybody? Yeah, please come on up. Johan.
Hi, so we talked about microfluidics, and we basically spoke about how starting with paper-based microfluidics is a good way to get into it. And also we were talking about how we can combine, microfluidics traditionally using the peristaltic pumps with, instead of using that, using electrostatic droplet handling, because that way we can make it more programmable and more usable for like DIY, where you can reuse the platform for different things, whereas if it's just designed to do one particular type of experiment, it's not scalable or cheap to be spread around and used in DIY. So yeah, we looked at electrostatic droplets, and also we kind of touched on using acoustic levitation along with the whole microfluidics thing. But right now that technology is, I guess, immature, but I think it'll become more mature and eventually get cheap enough where you'll find DIY people able to make acoustic levitation droplet handling devices. And there's also a site called metafluidics.org, which I think you might know about, that you might have heard about it, I guess, that is a good place for a good resource for finding out about microfluidics, and also putting your stuff about microfluidics in there so that the whole community can contribute and learn from each other. So that's kind of what we talked about in microfluidics on conference. Thanks.
So we talked about science fiction and its role in relation to these open labs that we're all working on. And a couple of basic points were sort of mapped out early on, and then we got into the details of how it can manifest and who can do what and so on. So I'll tell you a bit about that. On the one hand, we talked about how science fiction can be a method. I should say first, I as an artist use the sort of thematic terrain in my work, and I apply a sort of idea of science fiction in my installations and in my work. So the art side was something that I sort of was talking about. And then we got into sort of the general idea of what science fiction can contribute. And on the one hand, we talked about how it can be a kind of cautionary tale, you know, the sort of dystopian mode of science fiction, how it can sort of map out danger scenarios, security scenarios. A couple examples were brought up where this was integrated into a science conference, a CRISPR conference in particular in Munich. And then that was something that the security wanted, and actually sort of was the engine to bring that about. So it became kind of the cautionary tale, right? The sort of, this is what could happen and so on. On the other hand, there's the possibility for this type of story to do what Star Trek does, right? Sort of be an advocate on the one hand and a predictor on the other. A really great point was brought up in how you put all this together. You have this sort of, you know, utopian sci-fi, dystopian sci-fi. All of these create a language that not only becomes more interesting potentially for the creator, for the scientists, and having the scientists involved, but it's a kind of language that the public in general will be more sort of excited by and stimulated by. So for open science, for groups like us, where this is constant sort of question of how do we get people to participate, how do we get people interested, it sort of addresses both things at once. It's both sort of more interesting in the creative aspect, more robust in that way, and also more democratized and of interest to a general public. And then finally, we sort of started to propose possibilities. I talked about possibilities for exhibitions or installations, you know, integrated in events like this. And short story competition was brought up. And I guess you'll maybe hear more from us soon about how those things develop. Thank you.
So we talked about the global open incident collaboration. It's been going on for 2 years, mainly in counterculture labs, but since about half a year, 2 teams, one in Sydney and one in Belgium, joined the project. And some people here are motivated to also contribute to the project. So we discussed, like, how do we do this? How can we help each other? And how do we move forward with concrete actions? So some points that came forward were sharing of funding, sharing of materials, sharing of knowledge, and working together on really designing the next experiments. And then we went into a little bit also how we organize this, because it's hard, like labs working together globally. We've noticed the last half year it's not obvious, so we're gonna work with some better tools online and some facilitators to make that happen more easily. If you weren't in the session and you're interested in contributing, you can get in touch with me. If you want to get up to speed with the technical side, where you're at in the research, you can probably get in touch with Maria, and we'll post you. We'll keep you posted. Thanks.
And so for the final report back, actually, it's somebody very special that I really want to thank here on the stage. Neil, do you want to just come up for a quick second, and you can kind of help summarize? But everybody, Neil Gershenfeld. Number 3. So Neil, I just really wanted to thank you so much for being here. So Neil literally, you know, Friday we were chatting in his office, and he was like, hey, you know, I would love to come and share and be a part of this. And you know, Neil super graciously came and spent an hour with you all. And I think it was a very epic session. We had a, you know, really great and a really kind of a historic moment to have you and George together to share with everybody. So just from the bottom of all of our hearts, thank you so much for being here. And George, I don't know what you ended up with here over there, but you guys did a really amazing job. And I don't know if you want to say anything about any kind of high-level lessons from your conversations in the room together.
See, I would just end with a comment. I know Joey started by asking, are you a movement? I don't think you need to think. You clearly look and act like one. I think you are. But in the Fab Lab version that overlaps next door to it, when we went from 1 to 10 to 100 to 1,000, and now we're scaling beyond it, everything we thought was hard turned out to be easy, and everything we thought was easy turned out to be hard. Technically, we thought it was going to be hard to have Fab Labs make Fab Labs and make almost anything, and that's humming along just fine. All of just the mechanics of building the organizational capacity to support the growth of the network that we completely neglected is where almost all of our effort has gone into. So the sort of intangibles about how you build the infrastructure to keep growing, that turned out to be the really hard thing, and where much of our attention has gone. The frontiers of the technical stuff, that's just fine. That's been humming along. And so that's the challenge I would leave you with. George?
Actually, I would imagine that would be somewhat predictable, because all the technical progress is supported by the entire world. while the entire world is not necessarily supportive of you doing your particular thing. And that's why you have to put effort into that. That would be my rationalization. I'm not saying I predicted it, I'm just saying it's a rationalization. Yeah. But anyway, yeah.
And just to slightly belabor that, it turns out that the organizational stuff of how money flows and how you organize yourself really needs invention. That one of our mistakes was a version of fighting the last war. We would replay how this used to be done. And what we found is this is a different world. And you need as much invention in these intangibles as you do in the technical part. And it took us many years to realize that.
Okay, everyone. Neil Gershenfeld and George Church, thank you both so much. Thank you.
Thank you, David.
He's actually tearing up here.
I know. Thank you guys so much. It means the world. Anyways, Neil, George, thank you guys so much again. Wow.
You know what my advice is? You can't say anything after that.
You kind of can't. But we kind of have to. We have like more stuff we got to do.
Okay, sorry. Okay, bye.
Yeah. Thank you, Neil. Thank you guys so much. Okay. Well, yeah. Now we got to talk about stuff. Okay. Well. So this is the closing session, guys. You know, everybody, you've all been working so hard, and I hope, I hope this summit has meant as much to you as it has to me. I know our whole crew here has worked so hard over the past, number of months to pull this all together, and you all, again, have put in so much to come and be here and be a part of this, and have spent so much of your energy and soul to be a part of this. And so for the closing part of this, we're going to do three things. There are three important things, okay? We're going to do pluses and deltas, we're going to do appreciations, and we're going to do intentions, okay? So as you all know, I showed in my opening remarks, I have a community center at EMW in Central Square. Our whole center there is built on heart, and for me, like really, this whole event has just been all heart. I mean, our whole crew and everything that we've done, it's really just out of love for this community, out of love for what I think is a beautiful, growing global family. And there's nothing more than I want is for all of us to succeed in all of the different ways that we can imagine success. And it's important for us to imagine what success means and to be critical about that. But that's something we can talk about and as part of this closing. So to start, basically, what I wanted to do is something called pluses and deltas. And this is something we do in community organizing a lot. How many of you have done pluses and deltas before? Wow, oh my gosh. Okay, so remember the, clap once if you hear me, clap twice. So standard stuff, this is all stuff you have to incorporate. And actually, okay, yeah, so pluses and deltas, and this is something Marshall talked about a little bit in his session as well. So you have to debrief. When you finish a big thing like this, if you don't kind of recap, things just dissipate in the air and you lose it. So one critical thing that needs to happen now is we need a note taker, and I think Maria Chavez. Yes. Everybody make some noise for Maria Chavez. Yes. Okay. Okay, so Maria Chavez, and thank you not only for taking unbelievable notes, but we'll thank you more later, but just for being you and being so wonderful. And so for pluses and deltas, we'll do this for 20 minutes. And The basic idea is simple, okay? We're essentially just going to go over pluses, things that we thought went well. And I'm talking specifically about the conference, like how it was run, aspects of it. But also, this is also, could connect to reflections that you have, things, moments that you really enjoyed, things that were just really, really positive about this event. And then deltas are, how do we make it better? What are things that like weren't quite so effective that could be done better? And so this is actually an open source thing. I apologize the mics are on stage. Because I get a few people to help pass around the mics actually as well? Sorry, this was, thank you, Nicole. So this is all for you. So basically we're just gonna open it up and anybody has any pluses, things that they thought, that they particularly enjoyed or thought went well. Yeah, please share. This time right here is all meant for us to really kind of have a good collective consciousness together. So, yeah, go ahead, Eddie. Yeah, and if you have your hand raised and you had a mic already, great. So we'll start with pluses.
Thank you. So, I'm really, really impressed by how much drive there is in this community. In the Hello World sessions, everyone's just gone up and they're saying, hey, this is what I'm doing, this is what I'm starting, this is what I'm building. And it's so refreshing to see like what they call for the Germans the Unternehmergeist, like the entrepreneur spirit alive and well in this community where people just want to create something beautiful and bring everyone along for the ride. And that has really, really impressed me, as has, of course, the phenomenal organization, the beautiful location. Everything has been kept like so wonderful throughout the entire time. Like I haven't really noticed that anything went wrong at all. Right? Like it just worked, and you know that like the job was done well when you didn't notice anything. So yeah, a huge thank you to everyone who made that happen, and a huge thank you for all of you for putting in that effort and for just responding so well to the things which I've been interested in doing as well. And to the next Global Community Bio Summit.
So having been at the Walnut Creek meeting about 5 years ago and this meeting, it's like night and day. And I really appreciate that we finally got together without thinking about who was watching us and kind of took that security and aspect out of, mostly out of the equation of what we're talking about and really focused on what the community can do. And yeah, and it was really great to see a lot of new faces and old faces and just the excitement, and it really invigorated me. So thank you very much. I really appreciated it.
Hi again, I'm Sophie from Mexico. And well, what can I say? Before I started Gingarash a few years ago, I used to go to these meetups, hackers and founders meetups. And there were meetups like about software stuff. And I felt like so alone because I am a biotech engineer. But I saw in these meetups that my friends to go, they used to help each other a lot. And I was like, whoa, we need something like this in biotechnology. So I started Gingarash, but I felt like the weird girl in my university. But now I have the opportunity to come here and meet all of you, awesome, amazing persons. So I'm just so thankful and happy to be here, and I hope to keep in touch with you. Thank you.
And sorry, just because we're actually going to do a whole session on appreciations, so say them as well, but this is also like feedback. So feedback about things that you thought went well, that were excellent, that we can continue to do going forward. So just to help refine that a little. Other comments, other pluses. Yes, Bethan.
I just wanted to say that I massively enjoyed all of the hands-on workshops that I attended. And I think that there are very few conferences or meetings that you go to where you actually get together and do that right there, right then. So that for me was one of the biggest things that I enjoyed. On a different note, I'd also like to say that I think I put this on Twitter as well, but like, you had the feminist session, and everybody attended that. It wasn't optional, and I thought that that was huge. I haven't been to a meeting before where that's been done, so thank you.
And just on that note, I think I really want to acknowledge Mary. Everybody, just a round of applause for Mary for just... I know, Mary, you have to like figure out how to turn the camera on yourself when being acknowledged, but no, I think that was a really, really, you know, again, huge credit to Mary for just, again, being just such an incredible soul and conscious for this event, and just in general, I think for the movement. If you kind of want to ask yourself, like, which direction should we be pointed, I think Mary's got the compass pointed the right way, so. Eric. Oh, sorry. Oh, Pete. Okay.
Hi, I just wanted to say one of the things that really stood out to me as a strength of this meeting was the strong emphasis from the beginning on the concepts and principles of community organizing. And that also made it distinct, I think, from pretty much every other meeting I've been to, for the most part, particularly in the technical life. And I think it's had a really profound effect on the nature of this meeting, including what I imagine a lot of people have learned and taken away from it.
Thank you, Pete.
So I want to second what everyone else said about you know, your critiques and the things you're adding on. And this was really great to, you know, come together, and thank you all for you know, getting to meet. So I've got deltas because critical feedback and you know, things that can add to the conversation. So
actually, Eric, can we do deltas next? We're going to do all pluses now, and then we're going to shift the deltas in a second.
So pluses, I'll get to the deltas in a second. Pluses, it's great to see all this diversity. I really think that really adds to our conversation globally and helps us bring us together as a community. And, you know, we started this meeting as, you know, are we a movement? And I think it sort of crystallized really in everyone's mind, I think, that we are. So I'd like to continue that conversation. Okay? So
I really, really liked the fact that you managed to get the money together to give travel grants, because it was wonderful. It was just so wonderful to see all these people that I only interacted with online that I could never afford to see in person actually be at this meeting from all over the world. I think this is maybe the first time this has happened as well, so that's wonderful.
And just as a note on that, I mean, this was just for transparency. This conference was a $100,000 conference to fly and house and feed everybody. So again, we'll go to as part of the appreciations to thank, you know, the folks that helped make that part of it possible. But yeah, just as a little context.
Yeah,
Ellen.
I guess I'm expanding on that. Making it accessible. So it wasn't just the travel grants, it was the fact that it was free to biohackers. It was the fact that you're streaming it. I mean, I'm in a conversation for half the meeting with someone who's watching it online, you know? So I think that the effort that you made to make it completely transparent and accessible to everyone, and the fact that you originally planned for like 50 people and you accepted like over 200 is awesome.
Oh, and please say your name too when you're speaking, so people know who is speaking. Yeah, Nick.
Yeah. So the thing I really liked a lot is the structure of the whole conference in like days, because the first day was filled like with a lot of crazy ideas and inspiration, and I'm really glad that we worked up to getting together, organizing ourselves, and really getting things done in these unconference sessions with people who are really interested in the topics that we discussed. Yeah.
Other pluses? Okay. Oh yeah, Linda.
Hi. So is this on? Okay, it is. Just to give feedback, positive feedback to the structure of the conference itself, is I appreciated all of the techniques that you used for inclusivity, so that everyone had a voice, everyone had an opportunity. The Hello Worlds were out of this world. That was amazing, the 1-minute shows. And the unconferences, to be spontaneous, and to be inclusive, and to use, you know, what came to your mind, whether weeks before the conference or during the conference. Rapid fire question and answers, so we didn't have to cut people off because they didn't get their hand raised on time. You actually had those things going throughout the conference, and I think I speak for everyone to appreciate that.
In the back, Johan. Microphone. Oh, be careful. Superstar.
Yeah. So I really liked the fact that we got to tour Ginkgo Bioworks, and that was pretty cool to see how things are being done, like in the industry. For like someone like me from DIY Bio, I haven't seen how it's done in other places and commercially, and even in academia. So I think that was a good thing to experience and to see, and I got to see where technology might be moving and how it's being used. So that was a good plus for me,
awesome.
At least. Thanks.
Great. Okay, and then last one over here, Winnie. Oh, sorry, two more. Winnie and Dave. Yeah, go for it.
Yeah, I want to say extra thank you to all the people who hosted strangers like for a week and all the stories that I heard from people who didn't have a place to sleep and then ended up finding a place in like an hour for the same night. It's pretty incredible, and it turned out to be a really positive experience for me, at least. So thank you, everyone.
My name's Dave. I just wanted to echo that the Hello Worlds were really great because it gave us an idea of who we wanted to talk to through the rest of the day. So it was a really great start to the day. The tours were phenomenal, and when I originally saw the timetable and how tightly laid out that timetable was, I thought there was just no way that's going to happen. And I was amazed at how well it stayed on track. So like just a big thumbs up for how well you kept things moving. And in that note,
On that specific note, is Mani back here yet? Yeah. Okay, we're gonna appreciate him. Just on that specific note, let's just appreciate Mani for that, for just being unbelievable. Unbelievable. We're gonna give him a standing ovation in a minute. All right, let's do it now. Let's just do it now. This is it, Mani. Thank you. Thank you. Okay, Haoshen, you had one last one. We got to do deltas, so Haoshen, go ahead.
Okay, so I guess the flexibility of this conference has never been seen and never been observed. It's incredible. I guess it's because of the technologies. I mean, like the infrastructures we have, like we have a flat structure system, and everything was responded like directly, so like there were no hierarchy here. So I guess that's perhaps the reason, and that's definitely a plus. And the other thing, I guess, is that the agenda setting has a ecosystem mindset based on the thinking of this whole biohacking thing as a community and as a different elements combining together, so to make it happen, so that really balanced and gives like a very balanced, very nice worldview and imagination on how to develop and how to explore in every track and aspect. So that's great. Thanks.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Okay, great. So the next really important part is deltas. Okay, and again, just the way to give a delta, it's not about critiquing a negative. It's about what can we do better? How can we improve things and make things better the next time? So I'm just going to start with one personal delta that I struggle with, just to be vulnerable about. So there's another very kind of common community organizing technique called step up, step back. Have any of you guys heard about step up, step back? Few of you, okay. So the basic idea is, if you're a person that is used to talking a lot, and you're somebody that is always has something to say and is talking and kind of controlling conversations, when you're in certain situations, you need to consciously remember to step back and give other people space so that they can step up. And the flip side of that is, if you're often in these group dynamic situations and then you're often quiet and you're often kind of feeling a little shy, step up, step back is basically this is your time, take the opportunity and really force yourself, or not force yourself, sorry, but challenge yourself to step up. So in both cases, it's challenging, right? Both cases, you're used to being and so, for me, also a very similar type of thing, right? I'm running around hosting, moderating, and I'm always trying to remind myself, okay, I'm on stage way too much, I need to make sure I'm stepping back. And that's something for this event was something I struggled with, but hopefully again, it's something that I know I need to work on and get better on. But that's a personal delta for me as it relates to this event. So anyways, other deltas that people might have for how we can improve the event. Eric, go for it.
Okay, thank you, I appreciate it. So first off, you guys are all wonderful, and there's so many of you guys here. It's actually really hard to get to know every single one of you. So my delta is, I wish I had more time with you. And, David set up this conference to really connect and to continue that connection, long term. And you guys are global, so it is hard to come together and make these connections. And I do want more time with people and, talking to people out in the hall, but I didn't even get to introduce or know many of you. So, let's keep going, keep talking, give us more time to sort of interact on a more personal level. It's just frustrating,
I just want to dig in on that point really quickly with everyone, okay? So, again, this weekend was scheduled in part because these were the 3 days that I could book the Media Lab, okay? But there are two kind of solutions to that. One is for the schedule not to be so packed. And this, again, was a personal struggle because, again, we sent out all these forms, got all this feedback, and everybody gave just unbelievable stuff. And it was so hard to not jam-pack in the schedule with everything. But the problem is when you jam-pack in the schedule with everything, there's no space, right? Again, I've mentioned Camp Curiosity, which, again, Innovation Endeavor is one of the sponsors. They do an amazing, amazing unconference, and a lot of the techniques from this conference were borrowed from Camp Curiosity. But what they do, there is nothing. So there's just like 5-6 hours where you just have like this cool area, and we could have had a whole day where it's just food, and we just had this cool, Nicole Bacher designed interior, and we just hung out, right? And that would have been a really fulfilling day, right? So I guess part of the feedback here is like, for a next event, would you want to have like another day, or like is the same number of days good but just less stuff? So I don't know if folks have reflections on that specific point, just to dig in.
Well, Sophie again. What we did in TechnoX this year is a trip to Tequila, which is like a town where the tequila is made. So we went to a trip to Tequila the whole day, and I think that helped us a lot to connect with all the participants. That's it. This is my suggestion, like a free day. Well, a day with no conferences or workshops, but a day with some activities that can help us to talk with other people that normally you couldn't talk.
So that was partially the intention of the Thursday, which again some of you are here for, but I feel like this is another area where we just weren't clear. It was funny, this actually was a source of tremendous stress at one point in the middle of the conference, because we advertised the conference, it's these 3 days, but we're organizing extra programming like the day before and the day after, and so it wasn't clear, and then people started booking travel for 5 days, and we had this freak out because it was like, we don't have the money to house everybody for, X people for 5 nights or whatever it was. And so that was part of the intent in a way for that Thursday tour day, and then also tomorrow again for those of you that are sticking around. There's kind of a day to linger and hang out. But that would be kind of a model where we would extend the conference and have it be just longer, right? Which is kind of how Hackteria does it. Hackteria does like longer retreats where they have many days.
So what we did was to make the trip the last day of the event, so that we can partially ensure that everybody was there in that day, and we didn't give like options. That was only one trip, one bus, and everybody was there.
That's cool. Okay, great.
Thank you.
It would be kind of nice to spread it out through the meeting too, because maybe you see a Hello World and you're like, oh man, I really want to talk to those people, but I have to go running off because I want to see this unconference session or whatever. So if you could have bits where there were, our lunch hours tended to get a little multitasking and stuff like that. So that would have been better. And I really wanted to take a lot of the workshops, the hands-on workshops. That was hard, and I don't know how you solve that without making the conference longer and getting access to larger labs. But that would have been great to have done lots of those workshops.
I know. We could have had a whole conference just of the workshops. Really, right? So, and maybe just on that point, like the packing it in of too much stuff. Like, I don't know. Was it ultimately did the Zen Buddhists like just letting go of the FOMO? Like, did it make it worth it that it was just there's that much stuff? Like, raise your hands. Yeah, overall. Okay, that's good feedback. Who else had a? Alison.
Kia ora. So I guess as a burnt-out events organizer, I missed a little bit of the curation of the unconferences because we did have a few sessions that were quite similar that, granted that we could have taken responsibility of that, so I kind of take some responsibility. And I've given this feedback to other unconferences. There's a lot of value in actually forming the similar things together so you can have those people brought together.
Yeah, that's a super great point. Like we did that a little bit in the doc, and actually in the doc leading up to it, I think people did a good job of just combining things. But that definitely could have been done better here, like real time on the board. Like we could have had like some unconference curators that like that was their role, was to like look at the board and just smash things together. That actually would have helped a lot. Yeah, that's really great feedback. And maybe just like one more. Or two more. These, yeah, Eddie and Adeline.
Hi, yeah, so anyway, thanks again for organizing this, and Mary and your entire team. I think one of my favorite meetings where you felt like you got to know people a little better, because I totally agree with Eric that like I didn't meet like half the people here I should have been talking to, was the mushroom gathering that me and Mary went to, and people actually, participants also took turns to like help to serve food and prepare food and clean up. And I think in that moment there, like you get to randomly meet people as well. And also maybe if you were to do that, you know, for any future events, like maybe you could have like some of the more senior people in the community who like will be like serving food at, you know, at this time. So if you kind of like were a little bit shy, you wanted to talk to them, but you didn't really know how to talk to them, you could just go and serve food with them, right? I mean, like, so maybe that you can fit in that space to make time for people to hang out. Okay.
That's great. Thank you, Adeline. Yeah, Eddie, go ahead.
Yeah. So the event was live streamed, and it would be useful to know how many people were watching at what time, and maybe that could be displayed. And also I noticed a lot of people are taking photos, putting that on Twitter, and if you had the link on there, then like people could tune in like live as they see it, and that would basically be automatic. And the second quick point is you have some real great nuggets of like community organization, and I wish I had known about more of them at the beginning. So maybe like a quick briefing on like great things, ways to operate with each other would be really good at the outset.
Cool. Yeah, and just on that specific point, just to say, because I don't know if Vipal from Biotown is here, but we had a really nice conversation about this. One of my intentions, to kind of preview at the very end, you know, I'm definitely going to put together like a Google Doc, and for anybody on the team that, you know, again, was a part of organizing this, you know, if folks have questions like that, you know, like some good community guide, like it'll just be a big open Google Doc, and people can ask questions about different elements of the conference. Like, I personally learned like so much organizing this, like. Yeah, I mean, just there are so many challenges involved, and yeah, I would love to share any of those lessons to everybody, because I think there were some really valuable ones, and I don't know exactly what they might be, but I think like just talking with Vipal, she was asking me just like these really great questions. I was like, oh yeah, I can explain why we decided to do it that way, and so on. So that's definitely a doc that we'll get. It's one of my intentions to create that doc, and we can get that kind of collective feedback. Just a couple quick, yeah, go for it.
So about the doc, I think like there's a lot of unconference session, and people took a lot of notes, and probably there are like 20 more unconference sessions. So if maybe you can centralize it, and people can share and to rate.
Yeah. So those. Okay. So actually, one quick logistical point there, and I'm glad because one thing we definitely did was we did the report backs, which is really great that we did it. And remember, there's that Google Drive folder. Again, this is another question for you guys: is what's the best way to do communications? We just kind of tried all of them. We would send them on the WhatsApp. We'd post it on the Facebook group. We would email everybody. I don't even know how to contact you all. But you know, there is that Google Drive where if you have notes, upload the folder into the day, because each day had a folder, and each session had a folder for unconference. So, and I think people did a pretty good job today. I looked in the folder, and there was a ton of notes in there. So if you took notes and didn't upload them yet, there actually is a repository. So, so yeah, that does exist. Yeah, Scott, maybe we can organize that together, because you took a ton, and Alex also. Yeah, so let's talk about that too. Actually, just make one, and we'll dump it in. Yeah, final two right here.
So mine's just going back to the point before last. So I organised a meeting, co-organised a meeting called the Gathering of Open Science Hardware. And one of the things we did for our second meeting, having learned a lot from the first time around, was we did a very short facilitation training for everybody in the meeting. And it was that sort of step up, step back type stuff. And also just a few really simple techniques, like if you're leading an unconference session, make use of round robins, make sure everyone gets a say. And we found that made a massive difference for people. And in fact, next year we're planning to we did maybe like a 15-minute session, and I think next year we're just going to give at least half an hour to 40 minutes of facilitating for everyone in the room. So that might be something to consider.
Oh, that's beautiful, yeah. Round of applause for that. That's great. That's super, super great. And it's amazing. These little things make a huge difference in the quality of your session. So that's really, really valuable. Thank you. And then one final one over here. Yeah, Andreas.
Yeah, so I'm having a really hard time finding anything negative. It was really perfect, nearly perfect. The only thing that made my heart really sad was this potato chip say non-GMO project. Like,
all right, we only improve the potato chips. Yes. Okay, great, great. Okay, so let's move on to the second to last part here. Okay, so this is another really important part. And again, you know, at EMW at my community center, whenever we have retreats, we close with something called appreciations. Okay, and we've never done intentions before. This is a new thing I'm going to try, but I think it's important, and also feedback from Marshall and others. But appreciations, I'll tell you how we do it at EMW, and you know, because we have a smaller group, we can do it this way. We'll do it in a high throughput way here. But at EMW, what we do is, you know, we have a group of like, whatever, 10 to 20 people, and we all sit in a circle, and then we just kind of make eye contact with somebody across the circle, or, you know, somebody that we are looking at, and then we basically go in pairs, and we each take turns saying something in the group, in the larger group, about, we say something we appreciate about that person, like publicly to everybody else in the circle. So it'd be like, you know, me and Pete make eye contact, we're in the circle, and then we would go in pairs, and then I would say something that I appreciate about Pete, and then Pete says something he appreciates about me, and then we just all do that, okay? That is like one of the most beautiful things you will ever experience in your life, because how often is it that somebody just takes a moment and shares publicly and says to that person directly with other people witnessing like what they appreciate about you? It's a really, really beautiful thing. I hyper encourage you to try that in different settings that you may have in your communities wherever you are. So we have like, I don't know how many people are in this room, but we're not gonna be able to do that here. But we're gonna do a modified version of that, okay? So the modified version of appreciations is as follows, okay? So find somebody that is in the room that you connected with, somebody new, a new friend that you made, somebody that you connected with, okay? And one-on-one with that person in 3 minutes, just share something that you appreciated about that person, and then they'll do it back to you, okay? So simple activity, but I think we'll get, you know, a flavor of that together, okay? So go ahead, find somebody that you want to share an appreciation with. Go ahead and find a partner.
Hug.
You can make it more than 2 as well. You can kind of form a group of 3 if you need to.
Thank you. Thank you. And the best dancer too. Yeah. It was fun. Too much work, and you were there all the time, helping with everything. You're the
Getting artist paid?
Seriously. I want to take you home. ¿Quién más? Ah, Nieves, yo le quiero.
He doesn't feel like someone is ending. He's like... Somebody said at some point, oh, like...
Partes ahí, parados. Gracias por darme alcohol ayer. ¿A quién más? ¿A quién más, Lisa? ¿A quién más? A Elias le quería... En serio, es lo que le tengo que agradecer. Pero no lo encuentro. Creo que ya se fue. Les digo, ya me voy, no sé qué hacer rato. ¿Te acuerdas? Le voy a escribir. Seguramente no estará viendo el streaming.
You should say something you appreciate about it.
Hola, hola. Tengo que guardar que todavía es.
And give me the song thing.
Yeah, she wants you to say thank her.
You're welcome.
Because you are so nice.
You're very unrespectful to your mother. You don't even say thanks for taking care of you all the time.
All the time?
All the time.
I really appreciate our time together. It was fun.
Yeah, right. You gave him alcohol.
A very small amount of time.
Probably.
Maybe. I gave him alcohol. Like,
That's
I,
true.
I, I had a glass of whiskey. I appreciate it. It was a fun time.
Like California people here, which was like kind of interesting.
Who else should we think?
Yeah, like a lot of, I met a lot of
Sí, no, te voy a extrañar, quiero que te quedes. No, de verdad.
No estamos hablando que esto se presentan a hablar de las lágrimas.
Espera, te voy a añadir ya en el Facebook.
Vale. Sí, te iba a decir porque el móvil se me ha muerto.
¿Y ya no te funciona?
Le di un sobrecalentamiento y no... Yo creo que un cortocircuito en la batería, porque como ya no se puede quitar, antiguamente quitas la batería lo primero,
Claro.
pero aquí no podía. Entonces empezó a calentarse, y yo creo que se ha frito.
Nieves.
Hugo.
¿Con Q?
Con C, C-U, B-O. Ahí está, la primera. Creo que sí, si salgo con... Sí.
Ay, bueno.
¿Y cómo vas a hacer con el tema de tu ticket? Lo tengo que imprimir. Tengo que imprimir. Antes se le preguntó a las chicas que estaban y me han dicho, si vienes con el ordenador lo podemos imprimir. He conseguido hacer el
¿Pero te quedas hasta mañana?
Sí.
Muy bueno.
Sí, hago el turno por la mañana. El avión sale como a las 5.
Sí, te quedas mucho tiempo. Bueno, cualquier cosa avísanos nomás si es que vas a necesitar o que se consiga de alguna manera la impresora para imprimir, cosas así.
En principio es algo un poco crítico así. Porque ayer, bueno, se me rompió el móvil y ya está, pero luego estoy pensando, necesito el móvil para muchas cosas. Hay veces que para pagar te mandan el mensaje al móvil si no tienes móvil. Pero lo bueno es que acá te puedes conseguir por $20 ya un celularcito que te funciona, pero no está configurado con ninguna cuenta ni con nada. Ese es el problema de eso ahora. Pero sí me han dicho que además por 20 euros tenías con el
Matt,
Sí, hay planes espectaculares.
¿Cuántos meses?
Hasta enero.
Okay, everybody.
A Paraguay.
Siempre pienso en mi cara.
Bueno, ¿y vos no volvés más acá?
Es mi primera vez en los Estados Unidos.
¿En serio?
Estaba aterrorizada.
Good.
No sé cruzar todo tanta agua.
Sí, ¿no?
Okay, everybody. Can we get back, sit back down again? Thank you. I think this was a really, really lovely moment, everybody. Thank you. All right, we're going to do this again. Clap once if you can hear me. Clap twice if you can hear me. Clap 3 times if you can hear me. Clap 4 times if you can hear me. All right, that was a little less effective. You guys are, somebody's now just like clapping continuously. You guys are destroying the effectiveness of that technique. The technique is getting hacked. I don't know, I'm not sure I like that. Okay, great. So I need to do a few public appreciation. So the final part of this, and we'll do this quickly because we still have to do intentions, but the final part of this is actually some public appreciation. So if there's something you want to share publicly with everybody outside of your internal discussion, we'll do that now quickly. So I have a few folks that I really, really need to thank. So hey, Peter, do you mind putting up what's on my my computer over here? Okay, great. Okay, so very quickly again, just to all of the sponsors, again, I've never organized a conference like this and had to do this type of money raising where you go and you ask people and you have to pitch them stuff. And this is one of the things that Vipal was asking too, is like, how did that all work? And really it was like, like each of these different companies, they all have kind of different motivations and things that they care about. And one of the wonderful things about this movement and this whole community is that what we work on touches so many different aspects of kind of things that are happening in the world, from education to art to design to innovation and so on. And so each of these companies really, I think, just stepped up and I think really showed their belief in what we're doing. So Sammy and Taruya, I know you're both here. Can we give a round of applause, please, for Digital Garage, for DG? Yeah, why don't you guys stand up, please? Oh, where do you get? Sammy, do you want to say something? Okay.
Yeah, we are very honored to be here, be part of this great summit. And yeah, I'm confident. Yeah, we are keeping go forward, and maybe we will change the world in the future.
Sammy, thank you. Is Marshall here? Innovation Endeavors? Marshall? Okay, well, wherever, and Dror Berman, actually this is being taped, so this is good. Dror, wherever you are, you're the man. So again, Dror, this whole Camp, the Camp Curiosity event that I go to that Innovation Endeavors organizes, again, was such a huge influence in the techniques and how we set this up. And Innovation Endeavors, Dror, and Marshall are just such wonderful humans, and really, really deep gratitude to them. And Magda was here a little bit earlier. Did any of you dance with Magda last night on the dance floor? She had a kind of a jumpsuit on, and her partner was also a dancer. So they're like professional dancers in addition to running major portfolios at Takeda. I don't know exactly, but Magda's super, super amazing. Magda, wherever you are, thank you so much for supporting this event and believing in us. And again, BioBricks Foundation, Linda, thank you so much. Kim Demora, I think Kim is gone, but after iGEM. And then the whole Ginkgo crew, I have to say too, Jason Kelly and Patrick Boyle. Jason Kelly was one of the co-founders and the CEO of Ginkgo, and Patrick, who's kind of the lead organism designer. They were both at the party last night. And George, actually, you don't know this, but your name tag, Jason took your name tag and was wearing it all night at the party, so you're definitely incorporating some Jason Kelly microbiome into your system right now, so it's been kind of slowly permeating through you, just so you're aware. But anyways, Ginkgo Bio, and literally, again, when we started this whole thing, it was like, hey, can we bring 50 people over? And they were already really, really generous. And just to open up their foundry. And I heard Tom Knight was there all night, hanging out with you. Tom was there, right? Hanging out with you guys. So, again, it's just so much love from all of these different folks, even above and beyond financial support. So, again, yeah, Takeda, IE, Vertex, DG, BioBricks, iGEM, Ginkgo, thank you. And actually, just a special shout out too. So this is something that I guess, just to say. So this is Reid Hoffman. I'm not sure if I was supposed to publicly thank Reid, but I will. So Reid is a really great supporter of a lot of different kind of initiatives, endeavors, both at the Media Lab and beyond. And Reid actually also supported this conference. So Reid, wherever you are, and again, there's so many folks that really, really believe in what we're doing, that really, really believe that this grassroots movement is important, and that all of this innovation and all of this kind of development that's happening outside of these traditional institutions, there's a really big deal. And Reid is one of those people. So if we could just do a round of applause, and thank you to Reid Hoffman as well. Okay, I shared these slides already at the beginning, but I'm going to kind of do them again because now you actually know some of these people and really appreciate what they did. So again, you now know who these people are. But Alex Guo, is Alex here? Is Alex here? Okay, Alex isn't here, but of course from Bio to Beats and volunteering at the Info Point. I'll just say their names, and then we can thank them all together. But then Nina Wang again built the website, did all the travel directory, everything. Udayan, is Udayan here? Udayan, everybody, round of applause for Udayan. So. Udayan again, led all of the hardware workshops and the hands-on demos, and then Alita also helped with that. And again, just so much love to you all. And okay, we kind of did it a little bit earlier, but I think we need to do it with more emotion and more standing, actually. So, Mani, for holding it down in the wet lab. Everybody, let's just give Mani a real positive, what he deserves here for all of his hard work. Mani, thank you, thank you, thank you. It was, and I'll just share a story too. Like when we first started doing the organizing, you know, because Mani's very used to like MATLAB and like generating data a certain way. And I was like, okay, you know, Mani, what you have to do is take all of the workshops, lay them out into, you know, into this spreadsheet, and put a tab for each one, and so on and so on. And he makes his first version, and I'm looking at this spreadsheet, and it was, just to say, it was one of the worst spreadsheets I've ever seen in my life. I was looking at the spreadsheet like, why is this thing colored this way, and these. You know, it was like, has Mani never worked with a spreadsheet before? And you know, I was looking at it, I was like, Mani, we got to work on these spreadsheets. And it was funny because Nicole is like, her spreadsheets are like beautiful. They're like gradient colors, and the boxes all like linked together. So when you do one thing here, 5 things update. And so I have been like, you know, kind of you know, predisposed to Nicole's spreadsheets, and I was like, Mani, we got to up our game. We got to go. We got to go. We got to go. And then Mani, in the period of like a week, just totally took over this whole thing, and it was just so on it, just so unbelievably on it. I never went into the lab. I haven't been to the lab other than the first time we went with Vanessa. I've never stepped foot in the lab. I just completely trusted Mani to handle it, and he just completely owned it. Has never organized anything like this before, and just did such an unbelievable job. So Mani, from the bottom of my heart, thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you. And we already thanked Alex and Nina who did such amazing work. And you know, again, just one more time with feeling too. Where's Nicole? Where's Nicole? There's Nicole. A huge round of applause and thanks. Yeah, everybody stand up for Nicole. Let's all stand up for Nicole, please. Thank you. Thank you, Nicole. Literally every little element of design here, and she just worked so hard, sacrificed so much for this event. And Nicole, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. And again, you know, just shout outs to the one and only Mary Magic. Where's Mary? Where's Mary? Okay, can somebody grab the camera and actually like film Mary? Can we all do this? Can somebody do this? And can we all just, we just have to do it. Can we just give a standing ovation for Mary for everything? Yeah, Mary! Mary, we love you. Mary, we love you. Thank you so much, Mary. Okay, and then we're almost done here. So Marie, is Marie still here? Okay. Wait, is Marie here? Marie, yes! All of the housing, all of the accommodations, every little thing that had to do with that. All Marie, thank you. Marie, yes. So appreciate you. Thank you, Marie. And, you know, again, I'm so sorry that, again, next, this is a major delta. We need a better screenshot. We need a better screenshot. But again, huge thanks to all the entire global organizing team. So many of you, you know, again, you know, all of the meetings that we were a part of to make this thing happen. You know, your names are there, but I'm just going to say them. Maria, Dan, Patrick, Adeline, Angela, Dan, Jake, Jason, Todd, Karen, Kenza, Kevin, Megan, Scott, Dan. And I'm sure there are others too, and I apologize if I've missed the names. But, you know, y'all just did such an incredible job, and just so deeply appreciate all of you. So thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. And then, you know, again, just to my sister too, you know, just a shout outs to the family. Yeah, Jaja. Where's my sister? Where's my sister? Oh, yay! Thank you. Thank you, Jaja. Thank you so much. So normally at the 99 Fridays parties, I kind of have a ritual with Brian, the sound guy. And again, in your lives, okay? The AV people, the sound people, the video people, the janitorial staff, those are your homies. Those are your people that you hold the closest and dearest to your heart. You know, Brian Mayton, actually, we'll thank the 99 Fridays crew in a second, but Brian Mayton and the whole kind of 99 Fridays crew, you know, my sister stayed until the very last, at the end of the party, gave everybody a ride home last night. So, Gigi, thank you so much, and it's been so amazing having you here. Again, shout outs to Joey Ito, okay? Joey, yeah, let's just do a round of applause for Joey. Thank you, Joey. You know, Joey, again, has been such an incredible friend and mentor over the years, and just again, I think he, has such a deep belief in this movement. And, Joey, he really, I thought his challenge on the first day really set the stage for what happened after. And Joey, wherever you are, we love you. Thank you so much. And again, this is my first time trying to raise money. I think Joey may have done that a couple of times before. So, he really was extremely helpful and grateful to him for all of that. So thank you, Joey. And then I think we should thank this guy too. I think this guy might have been involved in a few things. So George Church again, everybody. Thank you so much, George. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Yeah, let's all get it for George. Let's all get it for George. Thank you, George. We thanked you already, but really from the bottom of our hearts. And I know George said he would, so next year we'll get you here for the whole time and you can hang out and unconference. And maybe we'll do the whole food serving thing. That's a great idea, actually. We'll get, all of our advisors to come and help and just be a part of everything. Marshall Gans, again, for joining us from afar. Marshall, we love you. Thank you so much for your inspirational speech. And then, again, Neil Gershenfeld. Thank you so much, Neil, for being here. We thanked you before, but we'll thank you again with quick applause. Thank you, guys. Thank you, Neil. Okay, and then last set of slides, high throughput style, to the entire wet lab team, to the Building 68 team. Again, there were so many negotiations involved in making the wet lab thing happen. So John, Vanessa, Anthony, all of the volunteers for the wet lab, Thras, Avery, Tim, Shannon, Deborah, and Devora. Oh my God, why does it say, I'm sorry, Devora. And I apologize, this was slides just made like right before this, so I made mistakes and left people out. And then also, again, the biosecurity team, like Pete, Gigi, there are some folks that didn't even come to the conference, but really helped to try to get us some extra money to do biosecurity stuff. But Beth and Francisco, Megan, we can do one applause at the end for this whole group. And then to the Media Lab staff, the building manager here, Bill Lombardi, Ryan, and Dan, we met with them like, I don't know how many times over the course of months, like working together, thinking through every little detail about all of the setup, the loading dock, all of that stuff. To Dan and Julia, who basically ordered, processed everything that you can imagine. Kelly, Lisa, Martha, and Jess from HR, they handled every single one of your visa letters. So anybody that needed a letter or a special note to get through the border or whatever, and they were so fast. Normally, again, like this is my first time doing a conference like this, so I just didn't know or understand the visa process and how long it would take. But they were just like, we got you. And I think for all of you, just like almost that day, they would get back to you with a letter. So thank you so much to them, to the Olio Culinary Collective, to Deborah. I don't know how this slide got messed up, but Shannon's mom, who's here someplace, thank you so much. Yeah, let's do a round of applause for Shannon's mom for helping us with food the whole weekend. Thank you. And then our photographers, Alex, Adriana, Havana. We already thanked Mary, but Tina Zhu, wherever you are, Tina, thank you so much. A quick round of applause for Tina. Thank you, Tina. To the whole Showtime crew, thank you so much, you guys, for being so great. So the Showtime crew, wherever you are, thank you all so much. Are you guys here? Is Showtime here? Showtime? Oh, they're out there. Okay, anyways, thank you to the Showtime family. And then finally, to MIT AV up in the building over here. Let's make some noise for Peter, Carlisle, Tony, their whole squad. Y'all are amazing, amazing, amazing. To MIT Video, thank you guys so much. To Kevin and Craig for all the live streaming. And then last slide, I promise on here, to all of our volunteers, to Meng. Meng, make some noise again for Meng. You don't know how much work Meng put into this event. To Bart, to Sabrina, to Liza, to all, and again, they were thanked already before, but to all of our local hosts, to Sho, to Rowan, to Francis, Rachel, Paul V, Maury, Stefania, Jaden. Jaden was a participant who housed people, okay? So that kind of happened also. And to Will. So one big round of applause for all of our local hosts. Thank you. To all of the folks that worked on the local tours at EMW, Amanda, Kirthi, Artisans Asylum, Wesley, Boss Lab, Ginkgo, Biogen, Novartis. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And then finally, did y'all have a good time at the party last night, by the way? Yeah? Okay, so, and again, I messed this up. I didn't put them on here. But to the entire 99 Fridays crew, that's Dan Novi, that's Jife, that's Brian Mayton, and then all of the Media Lab graduate students that helped set up the whole event, break it down, do everything. And to our DJs, where's Manalo, Emmanuel? Round of applause for Manalo for holding it down with the first set. and then Rollo and Hollows and Leah V. Okay, so that's a big, big list, and I know I missed people too, but just to give you a sense of the scale of the amount of people that were involved in this. So one final round of applause for all of those people. Thank you. Okay, sorry, I know clapping is exhausting. Okay, so it's 6 past 6, so let's just skip to the last part, okay? The last part is, I think, very, very critical for us, which is intentions, okay? So, Peter, can we get the other slide back? Just the one slide that just showed the thing? I'm about to, like, show my desktop, and it's, like, super... I don't even want to share with you what my desktop looks like. It's so crazy. Okay, so the final part here is intentions, okay? So, you know, again, I think one of the big lessons from Marshall was, how do we build from this, right? We did all of this stuff. We had this time together. How do we take this momentum and bring it to the next level? And so we're going to do 2 things, okay? What we're going to do is find somebody. Okay, so the first part is find somebody that you did not talk to, somebody that you do not know. And again, we just talked about this, right? You just said there's half the room that you didn't meet, that you didn't get to connect with. Well, this is your time, okay? Find somebody that you did not have a chance to connect to, that you were really, really interested in. You saw them in the Hello World, and you didn't get a chance to talk to them. And what you're going to do is you're going to share an intention with them. You're going to say to them, hey, you know, going forward from this conference, I am now going to do X. It could be something internal about yourself that you want to get better at. It could be something you're going to do with your lab when you get back. Whatever it is, okay? And then that other person is going to share their intention. And then what you're going to do is, okay, you're going to check in. You're going to say, okay, and we're going to check in with each other in a month's time and see how we did with that intention, okay? So let's just do this for 5 minutes, okay? So everybody, this is all pretty clear, right? So go ahead, find a partner and share an intention. just about done in like 10 more minutes. Yeah. Have you been?
But 10 minutes, 15, and then we'll just sneak you off to your office. It'll take 20 minutes.
Okay. Done.
You're the best.
Done. Okay, everybody. Why don't you guys start wrapping it up and settle back down again? Thank you. Let's get seated. Almost done. Almost done. Almost done. Almost done. Let's get seated so we can wrap up and go home. All right, everybody. I'm going to do the thing. Let's see if it still works. Clap once if you can hear me. Clap twice if you can hear me. Clap 3 times if you can hear me. Clap 4 times if you can hear me. All right, still effective. Okay, so the last thing, the very, very last thing is any public intentions. And we can fold in a quick appreciation or two since we skipped that part of it, but this is just critical in terms of like next steps. Like what are the tangible, actual, specific things we're gonna do to kind of go forward? And I'll just say one specific thing that I am going to be doing as part of kind of the wrap up of this conference. So for the organizers that were involved, one thing that we had talked about in terms of documentation, and again, I welcome all of you to do this, but I'm definitely going to write a medium, like a blog post, like a long blog post about kind of my personal experience with the event, reflections on it, and so forth. And basically, I welcome all of you to do the same. So if you want to share something about the conference itself and your reflections on it, please do that. And what we're going to do is I'm going to write like a little intro part to that, and then there'll be a link to everybody's reflections. So anybody that wants to share anything will have a big kind of table of contents, and then anybody that has a post or media or whatever that they want to share, we'll put it all into kind of one online page, and then if you want to learn about personal feelings and things, consequences from the event, that's how we'll do it. We'll link it all together from that page. Okay, so I'll facilitate that afterwards. And now we'll open it up. Anybody have any specific intentions going forward? Yeah, Maureen.
So I really wanted to announce this. So we found out during this conference that one of the community labs in Florida lost power for 2 weeks and lost, anything in their freezer. So we've set aside space in our -80 freezer. We're going to set aside a shelf. And any community lab that wants to back up their work is welcome to send us things that they will store in our -80. And we're going to back up our own work in New York now. So, we'll all be covered.
Awesome. Anyone else with an intention? Yes.
Testing. Hey. So I'm saying this publicly so I can be held accountable. So I've mentioned this to some of you guys already, but I want you to keep me accountable, and please join me. David, I'm inspired by you. I'd like to host the Great Out Hack in 2 years. Time in Australia, my friends. We will go hack the great outback of Australia. Yeah, so more to come on that.
Hey, yeah. So some of you have heard of this project I have, and one thing I really would like to serve the community is to enable you to really create the first large-scale community project of DIY Bio. And I think we deserve it as a proof of concept of what we can organize all together. And so I'm creating the back end, basically, to enable us to do this. And I'm focusing on this, and I know it's hard work. And I'm ready, actually, to spend a lot of time with this new organization to look for all the right sponsors and partners to actually bring resources to this community to make it happen. We just need to find out what is the best project and the best impact we want to have. Thank you.
Any other? Okay, Reese.
So I don't know how many of you are on Twitter, but I really love Twitter as a way to sort of curate your own like group of people who want to keep in touch. And I think that it would be a good way to keep these relationships going in between conferences and in between meetups. So I would encourage anybody who isn't there to try to get on and follow each other and, you know, give follow backs and just like sort of have frank discussions about what's going on in your labs. You know, not so much for like advertising purposes, but just like talking about what's happening and keeping everybody up to date.
Okay, thank you, Reese. Other intentions over here? Yeah, Tim.
So I've talked with so many labs this weekend. You're all amazingly wonderful. And the thing I really want to do is I want to share what some of the more developed labs already have, which is equipment, materials, classwork, curriculum. So my intention going forward for the next month or so is to sort of open source my materials and find a way that we can encourage other people to do so too, and share equipment between labs, because there's some places that don't have this amazing biotech economy that I take advantage of. So a way to find ways to ship equipment to other places that we have as surplus would be amazing. And if you have any interest in that, please talk to me or anyone else. Yes, I know Allison. Oh, a microphone too, okay, yeah.
Awesome, thank you, Tim.
We're too polite. Just something really simple, but probably something the most useful and powerful thing I can do. Ask for help other people, and try and keep the conversations going. That's as simple as complex as that. Thank you.
Okay, so usually at the end of events like this, people are wondering what's going to happen with all the images. Can I get those images? I've taken roughly almost 100 gigabytes of raw data, and of course, you know, I'm probably going to throw out 80% of those, but that leaves a lot of images. And these images are yours. It's everybody's. And I'm sorry I wasn't able to make it to the lunch for, you know, to do, you know, like a photo booth thing, but next year. But yeah, we'll work out a way so that everybody can get these, so that we don't clog up Facebook or something like that. But these are your images.
Mary's got one.
Hi, everyone. I got really inspired by a lot of the discussions we had around feminism, openness, accessibility, and biotechnology. And I think it'd be cool if there was like a mini, like a gathering on this topic. And when I go back to Vienna, I'm definitely going to hit up Stephanie Wuschitz and see if we can get the conversation going to plan that. Okay.
Adeline, go for it.
I got a lot of intentions. First is like I'm definitely going to visit all the labs and people in New York since I'm going to be there. And then I'm going to come back to Boston because I didn't get to go on any of the tours. So expect me back here, and I want like red carpet treatment and everything.
Only VIP for you, Adeline.
Yeah, exactly. And then also, like, I guess the two things I love, Asia and conservation. So, you know, we had these two on conferences. So I think following up on what we talked about with the Asia group and helping to see how many community labs we can support and set up there that aren't already set up. And so, like, yes, like lab equipment, you know, like knowledge, whatever. And then with conservation too, like, I want to see next year when we come back again. I assume we're doing this again next year, maybe. But whenever yeah, I think maybe next year, right? That it'd be nice to see where we are at, like what we have started, where we're going. So those are all my intentions.
Awesome, thank you, Adeline. Others? Oh, over here, Angela.
Thank you. So one of my intentions is to make sure that we follow up on making a list of and having a system in place, like an anti-harassment policy and a warning system to protect our community and to keep it thriving. Thank you.
Oh, yeah, Xavier.
Hello, everyone. Sorry, nervousness. I was going to say that, yes, the openness, the warmth, and just the diversity of opinions and perspectives and everything, it's been very special, and it's also been empowering. Originally, I was actually going to duck the hello world, but seeing everyone just go boldly forth and share what they're doing, and do it in such an amazing way, it inspired me to go forward. And I say an intention that I have is, although vague, it's to be more bold, to put myself out there some more.
Yeah, Xavier. Yeah. Woo. Yeah. Woo. Amazing. Any others? Okay, Eddie?
So my intentions are twofold. One, to solve problems, and two, to communicate with you all a lot more and really get to know each other. And the problem, or the theme which keeps coming up, is let's keep that conversation going. So I just suggest, please go to symbio.info. Right now, you all have your phones in your hands, and sign up to the Slack channel. There's 223 members in there, a lot of biohackers. We're running like 2 meetups, one in Munich, one in London. If you guys want to start meetups, do that. I'd love to help you do it. And then, there's 73 channels on a diversity of topics. And yeah, I'd love to just keep that conversation going. Next.
Thank you, Eddie. Eric?
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
So thank you. And I think this is a great format because we're all accountable. So, and specifically, my fellow buddy over there is going to keep me accountable. But Maria Chavez is also going to keep me accountable because, yeah, she's good at that. So what I heard during the sessions was we need more low-cost solutions for labs. And you guys need to see more techniques done by real scientists. So I will put more of the stuff I'm doing up on YouTube, and I'll show you how to do the things we do in our lab. And then we'll just communicate via that. And then also some low-cost equipment and resources for you guys in developing labs. We'll figure a way to get it. I mean, we're already shipping things nationally. We'll figure out how to get it internationally. So, and thank you all for bringing these issues up, really. So.
Awesome. Thank you, Eric. Okay, so, Connie, go for it.
Okay, so thank you for your amazing effort in bringing so many people from so many different countries here. I know you tried super hard. We're still missing a lot of people. So I think my intention is to be on your case and help you think about not only Facebook streaming this event, but either thinking about satellite workshops at different countries, and also bringing this country to a majority world country, conference to a majority world country within the next 3 to 5 years.
Beautiful. Cosima.
Sorry, I'm actually a little bit emotional. I want to say thank you to everybody for being so kind and welcoming and generous with myself and my crew. We've just begun filming this documentary for Showtime. I haven't had near enough time to talk to so many people, but all the people that we did spend time with were just so remarkably, unbelievably open and generous and welcoming. So my intention, as it has always been, is to do my best to be as honest and sincere and representative of this community. And I want you to hold me accountable to that. And I hope that you do. And I hope that we make something that also makes you feel proud. So thank you.
Woo. Thank you, Cosima. Okay, everybody. So my proposal is this. Let's end this all because we skipped and I apologize. We skipped the full appreciations thing. Let's do 3 final appreciations and then we're done. Okay, and then we'll be done for this whole thing. So, anybody want to share an appreciation? Derek, go for it.
So I'm sure I'm talking for everybody in this. The biggest appreciation is to you, David. And we've already clapped so long, we made you cry once. But this is top of everything. It really is. Great work on putting this together. Just wonderful.
Thank you, guys. Really, thank you. Thank you, guys. No, really. No, guys. Thank you. But really, it's really not about me, and it's really, I think, all of you and everybody that else that worked so hard. But thank you so much. Really appreciate it. Derek, appreciate you. Thank you. And by the way, it's been a long time, man, since when I visited you in Vancouver. You were one of the first community labs I ever visited, actually. That was back in the day. So thank you. Okay, so two more.
Yes.
Nicole.
Yes. David, again, yeah, also for you. I'm a little bit shy and I'm like very introvert. And I don't know, this summer, it has been very, very transformative and on many levels. And this experience, these 3 months here in the Media Lab with you and with all the amazing people, like good-hearted people, for me, finally, like after being here for a year, I finally found like a home here. And yeah, it's like, I don't know what to say, but it's like, thank you so much. I don't have words for this. And I think you're a true inspiration for so many people here. Like everyone comes from different backgrounds. Everyone has their own story. And I feel like you always bring up the positivity in so many like situations and in so many people. And I feel like this sparkling light that you sort of radiate, that is something that, yeah, I'm very like grateful for. So thank you.
So thank you all so much for this event. This was wonderful. This was exactly what we've been saying for like half a decade we should be having, right? It took us this long, but it finally made it, and all thanks to David.
No,
and thanks to
you
MIT Media
too.
Lab. I played a tiny part. You did way more organizing than I ever imagined you would do. Way more than I would have done. For those of us that are not yet flying out tonight, let's get together again while we have momentum. Before we all head out, let's get together again tomorrow in small groups and actually work on some things. We can actually start doing some grant writing. We can put together some research documents. We can organize all these files that we put in the Google Drive. Let's get some shit done. All right.
Boom. Yes. Okay. I think Mani's got something he wants to say.
Hey, everyone. Basically, I always had this feeling that when people want to do research, I felt when I was in bachelor's, when I was a kid, when you want to do research, you have to get into an educational institution, or you want to get into a big company where you have an R&D and then do research. But after moving to Paris and then Boston, I felt that there are so many community labs who are carrying out their interests in the form of research, and they're doing stuff. But academic institutions, when you want to collaborate, there's so many issues. There is jealousy and stuff. But the community labs, what I see is open-mindedness. And bringing them together at one place is a huge task. And when I met David, when I talked to him, I always had this feeling I want to work with a person who doesn't want to look for profits, but to look for the communities and for their, strengthen them. And I really like David, and that's why I started working with him. And then during this BioSummit days, when we were organizing, I know that he had so many, countless nights without any sleep. Like, he was just working on it. And at some point, yeah, he could just say that, yeah, I'll invite everyone from US or from nearby countries. But then he said, no, there are some people coming from different parts of the world, let's say Asia. There's some people coming from India, Bangladesh, or there are people coming from China. We should give them travel grants. We need to give them the necessary elements so that they can come here. This might change their lives. And that's inspirational. Like, I am very glad to work with David. Thank you very much. And since I was in Wet Lab, I couldn't participate in the conference a lot. But I wanted to say this because there are people who are present to empower communities, to take research to grassroots level and to actually, with his research experience, he could have run a lab aiming for profits or spin-outs or spin-offs or anything else. But he's doing a great job by empowering communities. I'm actually very glad. Thank you very much, David, and you own this.
Thank you, Mani. Okay, everyone. I feel like we could continue and appreciate each other forever, and I really feel like we should. It's a practice to do it, and I think it's bringing gratitude and appreciation into your life will change your life. I know I try to do it every day. So just to conclude, I appreciate each and every one of you. It's been a long few days, and I know we're all excited. And actually, I'm going to close the final thing by appreciating Patrick and the cheese that we're all about to eat. So, thank you, Patrick. Thank you, everybody. 2017 Global Community Bio Summit. We are closed. Thank you, guys. Let's all eat cheese.